first of all, when did this become kind of a thing? And then when did it become reality? And then how did you react to it once it was done?
My market was shifting a lot, just in terms of leading up to free agency, looking at moves that were made, the draft process, all that stuff, because obviously I was hurt.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of understanding that I'm under CP3, Lowry, and Conley in that Lonzo Ball mix, but trying to see where the dominoes fall and understanding that CP3 probably was going back to his own team, Conley going back to the Jazz. Really, Lowry was kind of dictating these dominoes, and then out of nowhere, Russ demands a trade to LA and opens up the Wizards. Because before that, you know, people thought Lakers were on the table because it seemed like Schroeder wasn't going to be there. So it's like a game of musical chairs, and I just was waiting. And once the Wizards opportunity opened up with Russ going to LA and all that stuff, and Bill reaching out to me and having a rapport there, understanding the type of caliber player he is, and understanding the Wizards have interest in me, it seemed like a perfect fit, and so that's when it all kind of started.
Tell me the conversation with Brad, because I know from my conversations with him, he was really excited to have an opportunity to pair up with you.
Yeah, I mean, I think you look at two young guys, well, relatively young. I mean, technically in our prime, we're
You're
not
still in your
20s,
20s, you're
but
young.
yeah, you know, not old at all, but, you know, same age, same hunger and love for the game, chance to pair up and do some special things, and really just kind of, I think, mellow personalities, right? Where we come in, we want to, you know, do our jobs, go back to the crib, like, kick it with our families, like, and just play the game for the game's sake.
Tell me about coming off of an injury like that and knowing that you have to rehab your mind and your body.
Oh, yeah.
What was that process like?
The funny part about this one, and everybody was so spooked, it was actually a lot easier. So when I tore my ACL in college, so about 7, 8 years ago, remember I'm getting ready to go to the draft. I'm in my junior season. I'm thinking I'm about to be a first round pick and all this other stuff. And I tore my ACL, my lateral meniscus, my medial meniscus, and my MCL. Like, boom, blew out my knee. Like, I'm thinking draft may be over, life may be changed forever. I was fortunate enough to still declare that year. I went in the second round, had to grind through a lot of different experiences. I've been everything from a 15th man and cut on a roster all the way up to basically an all-star type player. I've been everywhere outside of superstar.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So this one, when I had a partial tear and, you know, even getting into it and understanding like the recovery timeline was going to be easier, that, you know, I would walk a lot sooner, right? And this one I was on crutches for 7 weeks. For this one, I was on crutches for 4 days. I mean, so 5 days maybe. Like, so there's not really much muscle loss. You're able to get into activity quicker, like just all parts of it. And I have NBA resources, like shout out to Brooklyn Nets, like, you know, in terms of their high caliber, you know, training staff and attention to detail in terms of PT and all that stuff. So, you know, just the experience was completely different, and I was optimistic throughout the whole process.
Yeah.
So, you know, I was happy, and the mental aspect of it for me was not nearly as hard as I think some people thought it might be, because I'd been through something twice as bad.
So you bring championship pedigree to this team.
Yep.
And like when you walk in here, you know, if you wanted to, you could say, look at the ring, been there.
Mm-hmm.
But you were talking about just all the different, you know, machinations of your role.
Yeah.
Your rookie year, you're playing on a team that's, you know, trying to figure out who you are, to having LeBron James on your team and winning a championship.
Yeah.
What did you take away from both of those experiences that you can apply here?
Oh, everything. Like, you know, I would never change my journey for anything. Don't regret anything. You know, I've learned so much in the past 3 years playing with Bron. You know, I think in my first 2 years, you know, I was more of, you know, of an option on offense, scoring, you know, multiple 20, 30-point nights. And, you know, when LeBron comes and AD comes, you know, we're all the same position. So, you know, obviously you have to take a back seat, and, you know, rightfully so. There's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, for me, I've been able to, you know, have that scoring role, but also do the little things, the tangible things, boxing out, rebounding, playing defense, just the little things that you need to win championships and win at a high level. I was able to, you know, gain that too. So, you know, I'm looking to put it all together now, so it's great.
I don't know if this is the right way to say it, but is there kind of like a chip on your shoulder to say, hey, I'm here now. I'm free. There's no more like no disrespect to LeBron and AD, like you said, but like now you can kind of spread your wings and show the full Kyle Kuzma game.
For sure. I'm not really in no one's shadow. And obviously, for me, it was a great experience to play under those guys because I've learned so much. Obviously from Bron, arguably one of the greatest players ever, and AD, I've learned so much for him on the defensive side of the ball. So, I have a lot to prove, but more so to myself, you know what I mean? I don't really look at outside noise and other things like that. But for me, I want to prove to myself I can be the player that I say I am. And I'm just excited to have the opportunity.
Tell me what it's like to have Trez and kind of KCP, and you guys kind of go from that situation to come to an organization where it was almost a complete roster flip.
Yeah.
Like we know Brad is there, but there's just a lot of new personnel on this roster.
Well, I was hoping to get away from those guys. That's what I was really hoping to do, especially KCP. I've been with him ever since my rookie year, and I'm sick of him. But no, man, like me and KCP have an unbelievable, great relationship. Obviously he was like my vet coming into the NBA. Okay. So, to be here with him is really cool. And knowing Trez for only 1 year, super down-to-earth, cool dude, chill, humble. I'm excited. And obviously, we had good times, throughout last year in lows, but, those are guys you can count on that come in, be professional every night, be in the gym early, and produce, right. So it's important.
So I guess the first person you probably talked to was Brad, and
yeah.
Can you share that conversation?
I was just real shocked I was shocked at first about the phone call because I didn't know what was happening.
Isn't that the worst thing,
right.
The unknown?
The unknown. And then after I talked to Brad, I called my agent. He said, yeah, this could happen, And I called Brad, but I was like, man, I'm excited. This is the opportunity for me.
Yeah, this relationship goes back to when you guys are like 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And you guys have been competing at the highest level since you guys entered the league. So it's one thing to be friends off the court, and then it's another thing to be friends as teammates. We've seen this before in the league. Like, what are some of the pitfalls with that, and what are some of the things you're trying to avoid so you guys can still be having the relationship you have off the court?
I don't think it's nothing you can avoid. We brothers, I see them as family to me, and family does fight. We're gonna have our disagreement, such and so what. But it's all about just communicating. For me, and just laying it all out on the table. At the end of the day, we still gonna be friends.
Mm-hmm.
We're still gonna be brothers. So we can't let that affect, what it. We can't let off the court stuff affect, on the court or vice versa, and we just gotta look at it that way. Anything he want to talk about, we talk about, just communicate. I think that's gonna be a big key.
You're an NBA champion coming here, so there's a level of where you've been that you could bring to this organization. What is the championship mindset that this team has to have with all these new pieces?
It got to be a team effort. I would say, it can't just be the one guy, doing this and doing that, like on their own thing, their own agenda. Everybody got to have the same mindset, the same goal, as far as championship, DNA. Everybody got to be on the same page. Building chemistry. Having dinners and stuff together, just try to stay amongst each other, just to build that brotherhood. The more we can stay together, we can do anything. That's all it takes. Just coming together as one, and then no matter who scoring this and that or who's doing this and that, if we do it collectively, everybody wins.
When I watched you at Louisville, I always came away going, Trez doesn't cheat the game. Like, he just plays so hard. Do you think playing hard is infectious in the NBA?
I think it is. I definitely think it is. I definitely think it's a huge skill that a player can possess. A lot of people, don't really understand what, the aspect of playing hard by being a skill. People just think you just go out there and do it. And like, no, it's a skill to have it. You feel me? It's one way you can play hard, but it's another way to, master that skill and take it to a whole complete level to the point where you're out there on the floor and people are looking at you like, man, I'm trying to do everything to give up with him, but this guy, he's just still going. You feel me? And like, that's the way I try to leave on the floor. I definitely think, it's contagious because, when you start playing hard and, your teammates start to see you giving your all and, even if they may be in whatever headspace they may be, it's tough for you to stay in that headspace when you continue to see a guy that's giving his all every time, no matter what. He's giving his all every time. It's tough to just stay in that same mindset that you have. I don't see how it could not be contagious.
You've been through the business of basketball before, but tell me what this one was like when you found out you were traded.
Nothing different from the first one, honestly. To be real with you, I kind of understood coming in this league early on that, it's only a handful of guys that can, basically decide where they're going to go. Mm-hmm. Once you're out of that, those group of guys, everybody around this league is expendable, brother. And I learned that early on. Coming into this league, I, was with Daryl Morey. He told me that, you have no worries. You're not going to be in this first trade with the Chris Paul thing. 20 minutes later, I was in the trade with the Chris Paul. I was going to Clippers. So everybody's expendable in this league, brother. And I learned that earlier. So
lesson learned, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
Brad has ascended to a superstar. I mean, his numbers were his numbers a year ago, and he seems to get better with every year. From afar, what did you think competing against him, and what do you think it would be like to play with him now?
Competing against him, he's definitely one of those guys that, the crazy thing is I've seen and, been watching Bradley Beal for a while, and the only reason because I've been in the AAU circuit and I'm from North Carolina, so I seen him when he was playing with the St. Louis Rams, when he played against CP3 All-Stars, because, like I said, I'm from North Carolina, so he played against Dez and all those guys, so I've been watching him play for a while, and I kind of knew that, this guy is a competitor, he's a dog, he gets after it, he's not going to shy down from, no name, no body, no person, and that's the type of, basketball player that any person would want to be, that's the type of player that you would want to have your mindset in. As far as competing on the floor with him, you couldn't ask for no better teammate like that, man, just from afar. I haven't really been on the floor with him to actually experience it, but, just being able to see him and playing against him, man, he's the ultimate competitor, man. He's a guy that's, he could have packed it in years ago. He could have did multiple different things. He could have quit on guys, when things got tough, but he's never did that, man. He's always been a guy who's, did it the right way. He's played hard no matter what the aspects or no matter what the situation was thrown at him, man. You can't ask for nobody, as far as a teammate, as far as somebody in your organization, any better, honestly.
When you look at this opportunity, what does this offer you in Washington?
I mean, as you said, somebody wants me. Everybody wants to be wanted, so it's awesome to have that feeling, and it's a great opportunity going forward. I mean, we got a great group of guys. We traded for a great group of guys, very talented, so I think we can do something special here for sure.
This roster has completely flipped from a year ago, so
sure.
It would be weird for me to ask you, hey, what do you think of this team? Because you have no idea because there's so many new people. So how do you kind of integrate yourself into a system where there's a lot of change?
I mean, we've had change with our own teams. Last year, I had like 3 coaches maybe in the last 4 years. So you just have to deal with it. It's the business of basketball. It happens all the time. So just go out there, try to make the best of the opportunity, and just try to fit in best way you can. Whether that's getting your guys involved early or even just hanging out with them every so often. So just try to build that camaraderie early, especially in the off season, and just try to keep it pushing during the season.
I had someone in Indiana tell me when Aaron locks in on that defensive end, watch out. But there's so much more to your game. What do you hope to expand upon here in D.C.?
Just the opportunity to play, really show everybody what I can do. In Indy, my role is different, and we'll see what my role is here, but hopefully I'm just trying to just expand my game, make sure everybody knows how good of an all-around player I am, whether it's defense or offensively, and just getting my teams involved and just winning games. That's really what I'm focused on.
Tell me about Bradley Beal and obviously from afar, you know the resume, but
For sure.
what do you think it's going to be like to be on a team with a guy that's really ascending to be a superstar in this league?
Man, he's already a superstar, in my opinion. He's a great guy on the court, great guy off the court. Obviously very talented. Probably make my job a lot easier. Just giving him the ball, open threes, and just trying to make plays for him would make my game a lot easier. But I just heard he's a great guy, and that's all you could ask for in a vet, honestly. So I'm excited to get going with him for sure.